Hi, welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil, and I practice every day and share my tips so we can all get better at the casino. Today we're about to go to a casino. We have 2 weeks of practice in our consistency series. We want to make sure our muscle and mental memory are good. And today we're going to talk about your buddies. So you're going to the casino, maybe not by yourself like you maybe normally do. I have a casino very close to me, and I can go whenever I want by myself. And it is a whole different ball of wax when you're by yourself. I have a game plan. I work through my wins and loss ratios, and then if it's not where I like it, I walk away. Sometimes I walk to the casino and I don't like the table, I just walk home. It's not worth it. But you're about to go to Atlantic City, Memphis, New Orleans, Vegas with your buddies. That's a different ball of wax, right? You want to sit there and have fun playing craps. And so my buddies that we go to, we have set up a game plan. We play every Sunday. We know each other very well. We've been doing this forever. So that's different, right? Because when I'm with my buddies, I want to stay on that casino as long as possible. So my betting strategy is definitely different than when I'm home by myself at a casino. Definitely different because we want to have fun at the casino. And I want to make sure when I'm playing that they get the most out of their throws and I get the most out of my throws. We talked about all four of us are very good. We've taken all the same classes together, so we know how to help each other throughout our throws. But you're not as fortunate as that, right? Sometimes maybe you got a couple buddies that want to play. Maybe they're not into craps as much as you are. They're taking you along. Maybe they think you're going to be their moneymaker, which adds a lot of pressure to you, right? Because you're like, I'm just practicing throwing and I'm trying to throw well. Now you're putting the weight of three or four other buddies on you, thinking that you're the end all be all. And that's never going to work out well for you. So what does that look like? When you're going to the casino, who are you going with? Okay? Do you have people that are practicing like us and that we practice all the time and we're ready to go? Even if I am going with my buddies, the craps crew, if they're not practicing and I don't have a very good sense that they're going to do well, I'm not going to bet on them. I'm going to bet on myself. I have to know what they're all about and what they are. So before you go to this casino, make sure you're having these conversations with your buddies. If they say maybe they've taken a class with you, and maybe you guys are planning this trip and it's like 1, 2, or 3 of you, how much have they practiced? Are they doing this consistency practice? Do you feel comfortable that they are going to do well? Because if you're going to drop, think about this. You set a goal, you have a goal for yourself on what you want to bet and how you're going to bet on yourself. That's fine. Keep to that. But what are you going to do with those? Are they perfect strangers? Or are you going to have to make sure you see how they go first before you bet? So when it comes to buddies, you can drop 4 times quicker the amount of money if you're betting on yourself the same way you're betting on everybody else that you think are throwing in a consistent manner. So what does that look like? Talk to your buddies ahead of time. How much have they practiced? How good are they? Can you guys set up a Zoom on your practice throws and see so you can get a good sense and feel comfortable with what they're doing? Is it the same as you? And also too, so they can see how you're throwing, right? Because you don't want to lose money for them, obviously. And this happened to me when I first started, right? I took a class out in Vegas. I was with a company, and we were having a meeting out in Vegas. I took a private lesson from a very good teacher. I learned a few things. I after I was done with that, of course, I was talking that I did this, and of course, everybody wanted to come out with me. I go out that first, everybody's at this table and everybody's betting on me. And I was crazy up nervous. I mean, everybody is putting a lot of money on just me, and I'm just talking, I just went to one class. I'm just learning how to do this. But everybody's thinking, oh, now I know everything. So, of course, I 0.7, and then it took a long time to get around to me again, and I was cold. I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm all nervous and I'm shaking, and then I threw like 5 times and I was out, and then everybody's mad at me. So you got to know who you're playing with. The funny part about that story is everybody left. I stayed. I went to another casino, and I threw like a 30 throw. I was by myself, so I threw a 30 and then a 20 and then another 15 and made a few bucks. I wasn't betting a lot back then, but some guys at the end of the table made a lot of money on me. So and the next day, we're at the work function having breakfast, and my boss, who went out with me and lost money on me, was asking me, how'd you do yesterday? What'd you do last night? And I go, oh, I went out. I did okay. And she's like, all right. And then these guys across from me go, hey, you were at the casino last night. We made a ton of money on you. I can't believe you threw 30-something times. And she looked at me and she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I went out after. So it's crazy because when you go with buddies, sometimes they're throwing a lot of pressure on you, and you have to make sure you relieve that pressure. You can't say, hey, don't rely on my throws. We're just going to go have a good time. And then also make sure you treat those guys on what level you think they are. If they're a phenomenal thrower and they've been practicing and they're ready to go, then I'd go for it. But I'd let them go a couple rounds first just to see how they're doing and if they're throwing consistent. Remember, you don't have to be an expert at seeing how they're throwing, like, oh, his wrist broke or he was doing that. Are they doing the same thing over and over and over again? If it's the same type of throw, I don't care what it is, they're gonna throw the same dice, the same place over and over again. You might have a winning situation there. So you have to observe that. So your pre-work with your buddies is getting on with them, like, what are you doing? Are you practicing? Are you doing? If they're not doing anything or they haven't practiced before, treat them as a random thrower. Just a random thrower, however you do that. Either bet on them, don't bet on them, bet on them easy, but don't rely on them, because if you have 3 or 4 guys and you just keep betting the same way you're betting for yourself, you're going to lose that money 4 times faster than you anticipated. So when you're practicing, when you're going with buddies, my suggestion is determine what kind of levels they're at game time. Not like, oh, I've been practicing for 3 months. Oh, okay, he's ready to go. But if he hasn't practiced in the last week, what's that muscle memory like? How serious are they taking this game? Treat them as random, and only treat them a little bit better than random if you're seeing them throw a little bit more consistency. Or if they're having a good run, then you can go. But I would be very cautious when you're playing with buddies. The longer you're at the table, the more money you're going to lose. Okay? So getting in and out as quickly as possible is obviously the best strategy. But when you're with a bunch of people and you guys are in Vegas and you spend a lot of money to get out there, you want to stay at the table as long as possible. So that may be some different type of betting strategies. You can look online on how to stay at a table longer so you don't lose a lot of money. My betting strategy when I'm alone or when I'm with my buddies, unless they prove me different, is I bet a lot on myself and a very little on them until I start seeing them throw consistently. So that is what your buddy system should be. You got to know what they're doing and how they're doing it. Join me on my next video where we're going to talk about your game plan. You have to have a fixed game plan. I talked about this a few days ago. for your betting strategy and what you're going to be doing at the casino itself. So we're going to talk about making sure you have your goals and everything set in stone when you go there, so you don't vary it. It's so important that you don't vary your game plan when you're at the casino, because that's when you lead to an issue. And I'll have some stories about that next time. So as always, we don't talk about betting strategies. We'll talk about making sure you have a plan for betting, but I won't talk about my betting strategies or anybody else's. 5 million videos out there. But I know, and I've seen it, and I swear by it. If you practice and you get consistent, I know that you're going to throw for a long, long time.